Don't have to worry about metabolic here. So early in the asthma flare, I'm gonna have decreased oxygen because of why? We just said, the bronchoconstriction, the mucus, the edema. But I think early on, I'm gonna be breathing faster, so I could have some respiratory alkalosis early on in the flare. Got it? Because my respiratory rate is up, so I could have alkalosis. As the flare progresses though, that's when I go to respiratory acidosis. Because now I can't get the air in, I can't get it out. So now I'm gonna have what makes me acidotic, but having retained CO2. Don't make me cry. Right, so retained CO2, so having high PCO2 is gonna make me acidotic. And then, so I know, what's a person gonna look like? This is well, they're gonna be cyanotic, but besides having silent breath sounds, another bad sign if somebody's asthmatic is, they say they feel tired. Tired, decreased mental, because they are, because, you know why? Because they're dying, like, literally they're dying. So, can't have any of that, and they're getting so sedated because of being hypercarbic. All bad things. So the third one on that page talks about this is kind of just more of a nice note, this cough bearing asthma, so persistent cough without wheezing or dyspnea, and that just is making sure the person gets a follow-up to make sure that, doesn't develop into asthma, and make sure really they don't have another disorder like a pneumonia or something else. So then, the worst, our thing we really don't want to have is status asthmaticus. So, severe asthma that doesn't respond to treatment. And it's going to eventually lead respiratory failure and death because of hypoxia, which would mean what? Hypoxia is really their PaO2 below 80. Hypercapnia would be way above 40, their PCO2 way above 45. And acidosis, their pH below 7.35. So for status asthmaticus, and unfortunately, that's what happens if people don't go in to get the treatment. And it's not that they just don't want to come, they just think they can handle it at home. So it's going to be supplemental oxygen, inhaled bronchodilators, which we'll get to, IV access and hydration, and that's just because we need IV access because dropping down 2 bullets, typically we're going to give them IV steroids to help decrease the inflammation. Now, the point about that is the IV steroids aren't going to work right away, but we need to get them on board so they can start that anti-inflammatory process. And systemic bronchodilators. I guess it's from the book. It's going to be more inhaled. Oh, I'm sorry, I know what that meant. I know what I meant there. So sometimes, this isn't that common anymore, but and this is off the textbook, just so you know for your life, sometimes you still give people subcutaneous epinephrine and inhaled racemic epinephrine is called. So we still do that sometimes. Not in your book, not in TR, but want you to know, because you need to be extra smart. So that would be the systemic inhaled bronchodilators. So could go to that they have to get intubated. So when somebody's really coming in and really tight asthmatic, there's always a question you ask them early on, have you ever been intubated? And if they say, I don't know what that is, well then you haven't, you would remember it. And just because I just looked this up, we do non-invasive intubation, non-invasive airway management more now than we used to, thank goodness. But it just had information about doing it for pediatric patients. So it's a lot nicer just having a mask instead of having the tube into your trachea. Or biting plastic, is another bad thing. So, overall goals of treatment, we want to do what? Control the symptoms, prevent attacks, and then during attack we want to, have the airway be patent and restore alveolar ventilation. So preventing an asthma flare. So avoiding known triggers like what? Environmental. Right, so cigarette smoking, secondhand smoke, the old pets, anything that's gonna be, whatever your trigger is, you wanna avoid. So environmental modification would be, getting rid of the carpets, doing more sweeping and vacuuming, Hopefully not getting old, get rid of dear old Fluffy, but we might have to come to that. So checking the weather advisory report, so meaning, I don't know, maybe just, now be more attentive, but maybe you are already if you have somebody in your family with asthma. So, on the radio and on TV, they'll have like, if it's people, and they'll say people with respiratory conditions should go out this day because of either high humidity or high power count or whatever that is. So they should heed that, like, don't go out. If they said on the news, don't go out because of high humidity of the weather. Don't. And things like you could even, see if they make sure they have an air conditioner at home. Like there's programs where they can get air conditioners. We can start early treatment, like they have to get, err on the side of caution. Go to the hospital or wherever instead of trying to manage it at home. Because you're gonna get to the hospital, be there 10 years, so long. That was a bit of gold side. It was stretch for 5.